it's not like there's one master teacher who the apprentice is learning from, but it's like this symbiotic thing where we're each able to model for each other and then try the thing out immediately in the classroom with each other as well. So it's a really rich, productive atmosphere, I think.
Hi, I'm Karen Johnson. I teach grade 7 English Language Arts at KIF.
I'm Will Arnold, and I'm what we're calling English language specialist at KIS. So I'm supporting English learners in the middle school. One of the really good things about co-teaching is like constant low-level learning, because it encourages reflection a lot, and that kind of like that sort of discussion that if you're teaching on your own, it happens in your own head. Did that go well? What could I have done differently? But when it's happening in your own head, you tend to be very like self-focused or kid blaming. I think that just happens inside teachers. Like, I should have done this, or they didn't do this well. But when you have a co-teacher and you discuss it, then it's really activity and student focused, I think. And you talk about like, what shall we do next, and all these sorts of things. And I think that that means that the learning is sort of low level, ongoing all the time. That's one of the things I really like about co-teaching. Specifically working with Karen, I learn a lot all the time. And I was just noticing in class yesterday how I'm like really often just listening into her conversations, because one of the things she's really good at is asking these like prompting questions to get the students to open up more, like to open up their thinking more. And so I find myself like mimicking her question style quite a lot, as much as possible, because I know it gets really good results. And so I was hearing this kid that I'd spoken to a little earlier in the lesson, and he wasn't as advanced in his planning for that bit yet, and I didn't get much out of him. And then Karen came up a little bit later and asked a few questions, and she asked exactly the right questions in the right way, and it got him to think more than he was before. And so then I took one of those and asked it to one of the other kids later on. So like this, I mean, that's an example, but this process happens all the time, like in all of the lessons that you get to, like we do work with mentor text, right? We show the kids a mentor text and they use that for writing. And like when you're co-teaching, you're getting mentor teaching all the time. And it's not like there's one master teacher who the apprentice is learning from, but it's like this symbiotic thing where we're each able to model for each other and then try the thing out immediately in the classroom with each other as well. So it's a really rich, productive atmosphere, I think.
Oftentimes when you're alone in the classroom, you internalize a lot of those thoughts, and the thinking like remains with you only, right? And I also find that within the classroom, you have an idea of like how you want this lesson to look and how you want it structured, what are the objectives, and those are the only things that we might be stuck on, right? Only looking at that from that very narrow frame. But when I'm working with Will in our co-taught classes, there's a lot more opportunity for us to pause, for us to kind of reflect, and also speak with each other, because we've made that time, we've made that space. And so I've personally found myself a lot more flexible in the classroom, and really looking at what the students are able to produce, really taking that time for feedback and learning how to sometimes slow it down, so that if we might require a little bit, like a mid-workshop reteach something, or if we might need to pull small groups within that moment to work with the needs of certain students and really differentiate that instruction. I think that's actually, I feel a lot more stronger in that, because that metacognition to step out of my own like mind or my own thought process of the lesson, and also have Will in the classroom to chat with and talk about, and what are you noticing? Okay, this is what I'm noticing. Let's try this, or let's move on. It's been, for me personally, professionally, really, really beneficial. I appreciate that very much.
Mm.